Hello, everybody, and welcome to a long overdue MSP airport update. So, this was supposed to come out last week, but unfortunately, I was sick all of last week. I was unable to record this update. So, this is why it's been delayed and why there were no uploads last week, because I was just too sick to record anything on my recording days. So, I was basically bedridden for like all of Sunday and Monday, which is not the vibe. It was not a great time, and that's why there were no videos last week. So a lose-lose situation. Me sick, no content for you guys. But now that I'm back, I am instituting a content schedule. Finally, for the first time on the aviation channel, we're getting a content schedule. Don't get too excited though, because it's not a great deal for you guys, to be totally honest. Really, it's just going to give me some mental capacity that I feel that I need. I'll be uploading on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Saturdays being a major upload, and then Wednesdays being a smaller upload, like a smaller airport, and then Saturdays will be one of my larger airports, like MSP, Tampa, Riga, or Newark will be on Saturdays, and then the smaller airports will go out on Wednesdays, and then we'll still have like unboxing videos and whatever. And if there are extra videos, those will go up on Saturday, or sorry, on Sunday. Or maybe another day of the week. So I'm not going to limit myself exclusively to 2 videos a week, and so you will still get extra content, but there will definitely be a video out on Wednesdays and Saturdays. It's just more of a way of organizing, and it'll help me manage time a little bit better, because I do have a life outside of this channel, and in the words of the great NOAHFINCE, life's a bit. So yeah, life is definitely a bit. And if you want to hear the rest of that quote, then you'll have to listen to a song. I can't repeat the rest of it on here. But life is a bit. So yeah, we'll get started with the airport update right here. We're in the Concourse today, beginning with the regional aircraft, beginning with the Delta Connection CRJ 700 back there. This is operated by SkyWest. It arrived in from Brainerd, Minnesota. We'll be heading out to Aberdeen. Next up here, we have this Delta Connection CRJ 900. And this aircraft is operated by Endeavor today. And this one arrived in from Des Moines, and it will be heading out to the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. Very nice right here. Getting started with these 2 CRJs. Plenty more to come, so stick around. All right, here we have another Shapeways Custom CRJ 900. Again, Endeavor operated. This one arrived in from Columbus, Ohio. And this one will be heading out to Wausau, Wisconsin. All right, and now into the rest of our CRJ 900 Army here, now getting into the Gemini Jets aircraft. We will begin with the CRJ 900 in the Comair Heritage, not Heritage livery, but the Comair 30 years of flight livery back there. Of course, Comair no longer around, but this is operated by SkyWest instead today. This one arrived in from the Omaha Eppley Airfield, and we'll be heading out to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Next to that one, we have this CRJ 900 SkyWest operated. This is the newer Gemini Jets release. This aircraft arrived in from Madison, Dane County, Madison, Wisconsin. It'll be heading out to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And our final CRJ 900 here at the last gate in the C Concourse. This one is also SkyWest operated. This one arrived in from the Fargo-Moorhead Airport up in Fargo, North Dakota. And this one will be heading out to Rochester, Minnesota, RST. All right, now getting into our first E175 right here. This one has the standard winglets filling in for a enhanced winglet version of the Delta Connection CRJ, or not CRJ, ERJ rather, 175. This aircraft is currently taxiing in from Duluth, Minnesota, although it is currently having to wait here before it's pulling into its gate. I guess the marshalers took a little bit long to get into position here, so this guy's just sitting here for a bit, but looks like we'll be going into the gate in any minute now. But yeah, run from Duluth, and he'll be heading out to Louisville. And now moving into the Gemini Jets E175s right here. We'll begin with one on the left of your screen there. This one is operated by SkyWest. It arrived in from the Sioux Falls Regional Airport. Shout out to JJ Skippy. And it'll be heading out to the Washington Dulles International Airport. Next to that one, we have another E175 SkyWest operated. This one arrived in from the Chicago Midway Airport. And this one is on the turnaround today back out to Midway. All right, and our next aircraft here is the first of 2 WestJet aircraft in today's update. Yes, we have 2 in today's update, and I will talk more about the big news once we get over to that one. But this WestJet 737-700 arrived in from Saskatoon, and it will be heading back out there today on the turnaround, of course. parked in the G Concourse, and they tow them over here into C. So that is what this aircraft, that's the journey that this aircraft did today. But yes, WestJet, they have done some big expansions here at MSP. I'll just share the Saskatoon news first, is that Saskatoon has been upgraded to daily service. So that is very nice for the largest city in Saskatchewan, now having daily service to MSP. Very impressive. All right, and finally here in the C Concourse, we see this Delta 737-900. This is the 2023 release by Gemini Jets, and it looks absolutely fantastic. This one arrived in from the Salt Lake City International Airport, so some hub hopping there for the 737-900. We'll be heading out to Baltimore, however. So two very nice routes there on this 737-900. The 737-900s here at MSP are really in full swing right now. They definitely increase in numbers here in the summer season, so this is definitely a sign of what's to come. So I might need to get a fourth of this model now, because I already have three 737-900s, and I might need to get a fourth one in the relatively near future. So yeah, these are definitely coming back in full force at MSP. So good to see, though. It is a really nice aircraft. Never got the chance to fly one personally, but probably will someday, considering how many Delta have and how many routes they fly with these. So one day I hope to get on the 737-900 for Delta. But that'll do it for the C Concourse. Now we'll skip D and move on to our... We only have one aircraft in the E Concourse today, so it'll be pretty quick before we get over to the other side of Terminal 1. All right, but we can't skip by this United Express UN-75. This is... How many MSP airports has this been in? I got it less than a year ago, and I feel like I've included it in every single MSP update since then. So this is clearly a good purchase, but... Oh my goodness, we never get any variety over here in the United section. I love this model, but it's like I'm getting mad at how much I'm having to use this one. Use a little bit of variety over here, but here's the United Express UN-75 once again. This one's operated by Mesa today. It arrived in from Washington, Dulles, and we'll be heading back out there today on the turnaround. So another Dulles flight on an UN-75, but this one the United version. All right, everyone, we have a new route alert on this WestJet South 340, which is filling in for a Dash 8 Q400. I don't have a model of that one, but this is still a WestJet Encore aircraft, so it's the closest replacement that I have for the actual aircraft. But hopefully Gemini Jets produces a new livery version of the WestJet Q400 at some point this year. I will pick that one up instantly, so Gemini Jets, please do that. I believe WestJet has painted one, and they did the South 340 pretty quickly after WestJet painted their first South 340, so maybe Gemini will do the same for the Q400. That is what I'm hoping for, at least for right now, because I believe they're the only ones who have the mold for it out of the major 1-400 makers, other than JC Wings, of course, but they share the same molds. I doubt JC Wings will make it before Gemini Jets does, so hopefully this gets to somebody at Gemini. But yes, this is a brand new route, the first new route of the year. So exciting to see that WestJet has started service to Regina, Saskatchewan. So now there's service to the largest city in Saskatchewan, which is Saskatoon, and the capital of Saskatchewan, which is Regina. And they are serving it daily on the Dash 8 Q400. So that now every single WestJet route is daily. Insane how they're able to do that, because they fly to cities that, frankly, I wouldn't expect there to be too much traffic from to MSP, but surely most of them are like connections to other parts of the U.S., that's what most of the passengers I anticipate are doing. But yeah, WestJet has now 3 routes out of MSP, those being Edmonton, Regina, and Saskatoon. So very impressive stuff there from WestJet, and I'm glad to see that they've extended so much at MSP, and it's really cool to see this new route. I'm so glad that it's on the Q400 too. That's way better than the 737 in my opinion. I love the Q400 as an aircraft. It's my favorite regional jet, maybe other than the UN-75, because I am wearing a shirt with the UN-75 on it right now. But both phenomenal aircraft in my opinion. I think they look fantastic, but yeah, hopefully I can get a Q400 model to make this accurate, but WestJet, they've done an amazing job. So what this aircraft is actually doing right now, I haven't even explained what this aircraft is doing, why it has a super tug attached to it. So this one also arrived into the G Concourse. Will be doing the same thing as the previous 737-700 for WestJet. They'll be towing it over to the C Concourse before it will be departing from there out to Regina on the turnaround service today. So yeah, that is the C Concourse now becoming like a major concourse for international flights with all these WestJet services. I'm all for it, honestly. Edmonton still arrives into the C Concourse because they have a pre-clearance facility in Edmonton, but since Saskatoon or Regina don't have that, then they have to park in the G Concourse and go through customs there. So it'll be really funny to see this. Now, they haven't done this yet with the Q400. They haven't parked it in a wide body gate. They've only parked it at Gulf 1, which is just a regular non-wide body gate. But it would be funny if they parked the Q400 at like Gulf 3 or something. that would be interesting if they ended up doing that one day. But hasn't happened yet. That would be funny if it did. I should stop ranting about WestJet here. Positive rant, of course. We have other aircraft to get to. We'll now move into the F Concourse, which is very busy today. We have 7 aircraft parked in the F Concourse. But yes, glad to see that WestJet is doing their thing here. They have been absolutely fantastic at MSP ever since they started service last year. And so a big thank you from me to WestJet, and hopefully they have a good summer and they continue their great service here at MSP. And we can't escape the Canadian flights for long right here. Here's another one on this Delta A320. This aircraft arrived from Calgary, and it will be heading out to Austin, Texas later today. All right, our next aircraft here is this Delta A321. This aircraft arrived in from the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, and it will be heading out to the Orlando Airport down in Florida. So very nice right here on the A321. Our next aircraft here is this Delta H20-100. This aircraft arrived in today from the Houston Intercontinental Airport. Now, it did stay overnight before heading out to Houston on the morning flight on the next day, May 9th. So I'm assuming this aircraft was potentially towed to the hangar, maybe getting some light repairs done. Definitely not something too major, as it was flying it once again the next day. But interesting that this one stayed overnight here at MSP. I would imagine that they definitely towed it away from Foxtrot 7. This is a pretty common gate that is used here, so I wouldn't expect them to just keep it here. But we just have it represented here in today's airport update, so we can include the A220-100. It is a phenomenal aircraft here. Great job by Airbus and Bombardier. Bombardier probably deserves most of the credit, but yeah, very nice. And glad that Delta is continuing their operations here. Not a sizable operation of A220s at MSP, but they do have a few routes out of here. And hopefully as Delta acquires more of these, then their route network out of MSP will grow. I mean, they are the replacement for the 717, and the 717, there are a lot of 717 routes at MSP, so I would imagine that once the 717s are gone after 2025, then these will become more popular here, but for now, they're still have a few routes here, Houston being one of them on the A220-100. And as we move to the end of the F Concourse here, we have this Delta 737-900. This aircraft arrived from the San Francisco International Airport. It'll be heading out to Denver later today. All right, now we'll move into this trio of Delta aircraft right here on the other side of the pier. We will begin with these Delta 737-900 over there. This aircraft arrived in from the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, or Citrus Aviation's airport. It'll be heading out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was recently in Milwaukee. Had a very nice time there. Rode Amtrak out there. You might have seen the trip report that I posted. Yeah, nice place. Also pretty easy to get to Chicago from there, so took advantage of that to go to Grayland Station, and you might have also seen that video. But yeah, great trip out to Milwaukee. It is a very nice city, and great that they have direct train service from here. Our next aircraft here in the middle is this Delta 737-200. We'll actually get a little bit zoomed in on this one, just because it is the 737-200. What a gorgeous aircraft right here. This one was recently towed over from Hart Center hangar. This one, they're just getting prepared right now for the service out to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson. So that is also Citrus Aviation Airport, so 2 Citrus shout-outs in a row there. Also, congratulations on 5 years on YouTube, by the way, buddy. That is a very nice accomplishment. It's incredible you've been on YouTube for already 5 years. That's quite impressive, and a very good channel as well. Highly recommend that you check out Citrus Aviation. There's some great airport updates on Atlanta, Las Vegas, hopefully soon to be Raleigh. That's exciting. Yeah, really cool channel. Definitely recommend you check it out. Our final aircraft here is this 737-800. This aircraft arrived in from New York LaGuardia. This will be heading out to the Baltimore Airport as well, BWI. This one also actually staying overnight, and I just noticed that. Very interesting that this one and the H20. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing to these aircraft, but these are both staying overnight tonight here at MSP, and then they'll be heading out in the morning of May 9th. All these flights, I guess I forgot to do the time frame at the beginning of the airport update, but all these flights are from just before noon on May 8th, Wednesday, May 8th. So, yes, that'll do it for the F Concourse. Although we do have an aircraft taxiing by here, and as you may have guessed, it'll be another Delta aircraft, and another aircraft that we see very much here at MSP. Pretty cool shot here for this Delta 717-200 right here. This is clearly taxiing in after arriving in from the Kansas City International Airport, MCI. Shout out to Airliners International 2024. It is official. I will be going, so very excited to head out to Kansas City this year. Hope to see you all there. And also, I'll be going for more than one day. I'm not going to spoil the entire trip announcement. I'll do that on a later date once I get all the details ironed out, like what flight I'm taking down there. But I will be going. It is official that I will be going to Kansas City, so can't wait to see you all there. I know it kind of took a while for me to confirm that, but you know what? It is confirmed now, and it's better late than never. So yeah, can't wait to see you all down in Kansas City, Missouri for Airliners International. If you've never been, you will. It's an incredible event. Collectors of aviation memorabilia from all over the states and all over the world converge in one place. This year it will be Kansas City to meet and buy and sell and whatever it may be, everything aviation. So it's a really cool event. So definitely recommend if you can make it out there to give it a looky, check it out. It's really cool. It's a really cool thing, and glad to be able to go out there this year. But yeah, this is when arriving in from Kansas City. We'll be heading out there today on the turnaround. So a rare Delta turn today, but that is what this 717 is doing today. Our next aircraft here is this KLM 787-9 Dreamliner. This is filling in for a 777-200. So it looks like KLM is going to stick with their... last year they kind of swapped between the two periodically throughout the year. Most of the time being on the 787, but this year it looks like it's mostly on the 777. What is really ironic is that Air France is scheduled to be on the 787, which is disappointing for me personally because I have an Air France 777 model and I have a KLM 787. I'd rather it be the other way around so I could actually represent these two flights at MSP. But I'm thinking I might buy the Gemini Jets KLM Orange Pride 777-300 when I'm at Airliners, so I can somewhat accurately represent the KLM flight. That will be a 777. It will be a 300 version rather than a 200, but it will still fill the gap for what is needed for KLM. But for now, we have the 787 right here filling in for 777-200. We have been getting the KLM Asia 777-200 a lot recently, so that's pretty interesting and a very unique story behind that. I believe I went over it in a previous update, but that was a while ago, so I guess I might as well go over it again. So basically, airlines that fly to both Taiwan and mainland China is not really allowed. You have to have you have to either fly to one or the other. So KLM made up this second airline, KLM Asia, to fly flights to China without getting in trouble. So it's a little bit of a loophole there, but KLM was able to do it with their KLM Asia branding. So some of those aircraft managed to squeak their way into the United States, and that is what happened. That's what's happening recently here at MSP with the KLM Asia 777-200, which is really cool to see. Hopefully, I'll spot it. I'll be able to spot it someday, but yeah, hasn't happened yet, but hopefully one day. But very cool to see, and yeah, good job on KLM for continuing their service throughout the winter and going into the summer. We're glad to see them upgrade to the 777-200, although I wish I had a model of it. And also in the next update, I will be featuring the return of Air France, so stay tuned for that one. Of course, with the inaccurate aircraft, because of course these two best buddies had to swap planes, which is kind of annoying, but we'll have to manage for now. I spent too long in this KLM 787, so we'll move on to our next aircraft. All right, and just taxiing in here, we see this Delta A321. This aircraft is currently taxiing in after arriving from Denver. It'll be heading out to the Boston Logan International Airport later today, but it is making a long taxi today over to the D Concourse. So looks like there will be one aircraft there in just a few moments, but we did kind of skip over it earlier in today's update because there were no aircraft parked there, so they will be getting some action there with this guy very soon. All right, and now our last widebody here in the G Concourse is this Delta A330-300 flying for an A330-200, however. It arrived in from London Heathrow, and it's currently disembarking passengers after arriving in, and it will be later today boarding up its passengers, including NOAHFINNCE and his band, after they performed their last show at the Fine Line in downtown Minneapolis. Now, that did happen over a month ago. I don't even think NOAHFINNCE flew out of MSP, but his last show was at the Fine Line in downtown Minneapolis. Was there. It was incredible. The best thing I've ever seen in my life. We'll just have to use our imagination that he's on this flight, because that was a while ago, but I wanted to include it in an airport update just for symbolic sake. So here it is. Noel will be heading out to his home in London here with the rest of his band. So very nice right here. Unfortunately, I don't have a Delta A330-200 to accurately represent it, but the 330-300 is close enough that I will use this aircraft in its place. Haven't really gotten the London flight in many airport updates as well, if I can speak. I need to slow down a little. I need to remind myself to just slow down sometimes. So we're going to get the London flight in here, because it is a service that we have on Delta, but I normally don't include it in the airport updates just because I don't have the accurate aircraft, and rarely do I have the space even as well, because normally we fill up the G Concourse with all of the international flights and whatnot. Although actually right now, to make the problem even worse, like this gate area right here, G2 in this replica, Gulf 4 in real life, that is like from, that gate is still open, but like from there all throughout, I think even all through, maybe this, well, it's not Gulf 5 in real life, but Gulf 9 is what that one represents. Basically, this gate is closed. Right now in real life, they're doing construction there, so the G Concourse construction continues, but now they're shutting down this gate, which is Gulf 6 in real life, which is unfortunate because that has a really big international wide-body gate here that is currently closed down. So I just spotted that on my recent live stream, and that's a bit unfortunate. That'll make these airport updates tricky when I have so many wide-body aircraft and I can't park them there because this is now under construction. So that is why for the foreseeable future you will not see any aircraft parking there. You'd think that they would do that in like a non-peak time for international flights. As we're moving into that, as we're going into the summer months, the international flights are going to pick up, and they already are picking up. So that's going to be tricky for space. I wonder how they're going to be able to solve that, but that is currently the situation right here at Concourse G. The construction continues, so we'll see what ends up happening with that, but that is the current situation for that gate. We have 3 Aero Classics models all under a blanket here, which I don't think that's happened before in an airport update, so might as well just get them all in one shot, just because, I don't know. I noticed that. I didn't notice it when I was setting up the airport. I noticed it like right as I was starting to record. I thought that was kind of funny. So, completely by coincidence, we have 3 Aero Classics aircraft all parked right next to each other. We will begin with the A319 right here. This aircraft arrived in from Pasco, and it will be heading out to Raleigh-Durham. So we'll soon be a Citrus Aviation Airport. So once again, shout out to Citrus Aviation. I've done that 3 times already in today's update. So really giving some Citrus some good exposure. But he deserves it. 5-year anniversary on YouTube. That is very impressive. Anyways, our next aircraft here in the middle is this Delta A321 in the Thank You livery. This aircraft is arriving in from San Diego, California. It'll be heading out to Tampa. Finally, behind that one, we have the A321neo, of course. This aircraft arrived in from LAX. It's on the turnaround today. The main A321neo route still out of MSP. Still not too many on the 321neo. Anchorage is still on the 321neo, which is awesome. But yeah, LAX still the major one for this aircraft. And I think that's a pretty common consensus for many the Delta hubs that LAX is the main 321neo route out of the airport, at least in this area of the U.S. But that'll do it for Terminal 1 today. So now we will move on to the rest of the aircraft here. Still a decent amount of action to go here in Terminal 2 and in the cargo area. Here's a really cool shot of this United A320. This aircraft is currently taking off with a service out to Chicago O'Hare. It arrived in from there, or sorry, no, it arrived in from Denver. So not a turnaround here for this United flight today. This will be heading out to Chicago after arriving in from Denver. Very nice here on the A320. We have been getting some more A320s recently in these past few days, both like this noonish service, I guess, like late morning. It departs just before noon. The Chicago and Denver service have both been on the A320, which sometimes they're on the 737-800s or Max 8s, but for these past few days they've been on the A320, so might as well represent that here with this flight currently taking off to Chicago. Now into Terminal 2, just arrived in here is a Southwest 737-700. This aircraft arrived in from the Chicago Midway Airport. We'll be heading back out there today on the turnaround. So, yeah, Southwest, they have been... I'm surprised at how big of a player they are in the MSP market share. They are the fourth largest airline in terms of passenger volume here. They are definitely not the fourth largest airline in terms of flight volume, though. So definitely they have been very successful with their routes to MSP. So hopefully we may see some expansion from Southwest in the future. They haven't really been doing much expansion since the pandemic at MSP, so maybe after this summer they will invest in some new routes, as they are the fourth largest airline by passenger volume, which is very surprising to me. The largest being Delta, and then SkyWest in second, which is kind of by technicality just because they operate a lot of regional flights for Delta and other carriers to MSP. And then Sun Country is the third largest, but then after that it is Southwest, which is a very big surprise to me, as they only occupy 3 gates here at Terminal 2, and normally we don't see more than 1 or 2 aircraft of theirs in these airport updates. And they don't fly into MSP super frequently. Like, I feel like there are airlines like American and United that operate more flights into MSP, but don't get the passenger volume that Southwest does. So, very interesting, but that's just a little statistic that I thought I might throw out there just because that is something that has been, I don't know, I read it recently, I saw it on Wikipedia. Sometimes I just go through the MSP Airport Wikipedia just to see if there's any cool information on there. And the passenger statistics are about the coolest thing to look at, so that's pretty interesting right there. But yeah, that is at least fact for 2022. So maybe things have changed since then, but pretty cool. All right, and now we have our big Southwest, or not Southwest, this is our Sun Country section right here. I mean, their liveries are kind of similar. Easy to get them confused sometimes. At least they're Sun Country old livery. But yeah, we'll now begin with this section of aircraft here. Now, all these have been towed over, so these are all fresh from the hangar. Will be making their afternoon departures here. So we'll begin with the 737-800 there in the Tide Pod livery without the 40 years of flight sticker and blended winglets. This aircraft will be heading out to Orlando, Florida. In the middle here, we have the split scimitar version with the 40 years of flight sticker on it. This one will be heading out to Seattle, Tacoma. Finally, the old livery there in the back will be heading out to Los Angeles, LAX. Now you can see the catering truck there getting whatever food they need on board of that flight. They need their snack boxes. Sun Country has a pretty good snack box, so got to load those up there. So when I'm on the flight, I can buy me my $9 snack box. Honestly, that's not the worst price for a snack box, considering what you get. Not terrible, but probably still more expensive than you can get on the ground, surely. Right here we have our Prime Air 737-800 right here. This aircraft is operated by Sun Country. It arrived in from Fort Worth Alliance Airport, and it will be heading out this afternoon out to Cincinnati in Ohio. All right, and now into our major cargo airlines, but actually not really, because we do have this kind of oddball cargo flight that flies into MSP. We have this Amerijet 767-300. This is not operated by Amerijet, though. This is filling in for a 21 Air cargo 767-200. Now, this is operated, this kind of weird route is operated on and off by like 21 Air and DHL. They kind of trade spots with this one. Very weird. It arrived in from Milwaukee. You'll be heading back out there on the turnaround today. Yeah, very strange route, but on a really cool aircraft, a 767-200. So yeah, this one just kind of sitting around here. It'll be sitting around until almost 10, or actually a little bit past 10 in the evening. So long stay for the 767-200. Well, 300 is the model version, but yeah, no models of 21 Air out there, unfortunately. Not very surprised by that, but it is just a blank 767 with a black tail. Very interesting. Behind that, we have another 767-300 here, this one for FedEx. This aircraft arrived in from Indianapolis, and it'll be heading back out there on the turnaround today. Taxiing out for departure here, we see this Southwest 737-800. This is something that they do sometimes. They taxi aircraft from Terminal 2 through the cargo apron, the main cargo apron as it's called. If they're departing on like runway 17 or 12 right, they taxi them through here before taking off, because this is kind of like a little cheater shortcut rather than going on the traditional taxiways. So that's what this aircraft is doing here today. This one arrived in, or this one is currently taxiing out for Nashville and arrived in from Baltimore today. So yeah, that is our second of two Southwest aircraft in today's update. Once again, the fourth largest airline on MSP. Still can't believe that, but they've been doing a good job. So clearly this little shortcut method is working for them. So they're not the only one who does it. Sun Country also do it. I suppose every airline at Terminal 2 does it, but the main two are Sun Country and Southwest, and they're the third and fourth largest airlines. So clearly there's some sort of correlation there between taxiing through the cargo apron and success. Clearly. All right, and our final cargo aircraft in today's update is this UPS MD-11 right here. This one arrived in from Louisville. It'll be heading back out there today on the turnaround, of course. So I see there for UPS getting the MD-11 here. Love our tri-jets, and it's always nice to include this model in an airport update. It is one of my favorite cargo aircraft, one of my favorite aircraft in general, the MD-11, but I think it looks very good on the UPS livery. That'll do it for our cargo aircraft. I kind of tried to hide the last aircraft of this airport update from this shot, but you can kind of see it. So we'll move on to that one, and that'll be our last aircraft today. All right, and here's our final aircraft. It is the Delta A350-900. This is the flaps downmold by Gemini Jets, and that would be kind of accurate today, because this is currently taxiing out for departure. We'll be taking off on runway 4, which is this model is inaccurate because really between Terminal 2 and the main cargo airport, there's like a runway that goes through here, but on this version I only had room for a taxiway. So kind of what we have here is this aircraft's kind of taxiing to nowhere right now, but we'll just say there's a imaginary runway running underneath the airport or something. I'm not really sure. There's a light rail station down there, so that wouldn't work either. But anyways, this aircraft is really taxiing out departure to Seoul, and it arrived in yesterday afternoon. That's what they do for the Asian flights to Tokyo and to Seoul. They arrive in the afternoon, they stay overnight, and then they depart in the morning the next day for their return trips. So that is what this aircraft is doing, and it will be soon taking off for the flight out to Seoul and Incheon in Korea. So that'll do it for today's airport update. Hope you enjoyed this one. I may have been a little bit rusty coming back to these airport updates after so long, because the last one at Barrow was not that difficult, honestly. 2 aircraft. Can talk mostly about jet lag, but yeah, these slog of an airport updates can really get to you, and I get kind of witty at the end of them. So sorry if I just talked for so long today and maybe didn't make a whole lot of sense. That is just part of life, I suppose. But that'll do it for today's update. Thank you all for so much for your support. Expect the new content schedule to go into effect by now. You're watching this on a Saturday, so welcome to the new content schedule. Sorry that I'm not going to be uploading as much, but it'll ultimately make uploads more consistent on here, and it'll be better for my mental health and stuff. So ultimately, there's a sacrifice that had to be made here on the channel, but that is what I have for you for today. So that'll do it. I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night. Auf Wiedersehen.